If you're someone who tends to get a little lost in your own head, this is for you. Welcome to an explainer made especially for the overthinker.
See, right when this started, I'm guessing you might have paused, just for a split second.
A little voice probably popped up wondering, wait, is this really the explainer for me? Is this what I actually need right now? And right there, in that tiny moment of hesitation, you did it. You started thinking about your thinking. Yep, you're in exactly the right place. This one is definitely for you. All right, so let's start by getting something straight. We need to redefine this whole experience because what's going on in your mind, it's so much more than just worrying.
A lot of people think it's just some small nervous habit, like biting your nails. But you and I know the reality is way more complex, right? It's replaying that one awkward conversation from 3 years ago at 2 a.m. It's analyzing every single period, an emoji, in a text message. It's second-guessing a decision you made weeks ago that nobody else even remembers.
Exactly. To call it just worrying totally misses the point. It misses the depth and the endless loops of what's really happening. It's a whole internal world that most people just never get to see. So let's peel back the curtain and look at the science here. Because this isn't some kind of character flaw. It's actually your brain's protective system doing its job, maybe a little too well. Okay, deep inside your brain, there's this system called the default mode network. Think of it like your brain's screensaver. The moment you're not focused on a specific task, bam, it kicks in. And its job is to think about yourself, your past, and your future.
And honestly, these functions are super important. We need this network to reflect on things, to plan ahead, to figure out tricky social situations. It helps us understand ourselves and other people. It's a really critical part of being human.
But here's the absolute key. Your brain isn't broken. It's just that for an overthinker, this system, it doesn't really quiet down. The volume just kind of stays turned up all the time, constantly scanning and analyzing everything in the background. So you might be wondering, where did this whole mental habit even come from? Well, believe it or not, it started out as a survival skill, a skill that was once super useful, but now it's just being applied to the wrong things. And this distinction is everything. See, healthy reflection actually moves you forward. It helps you find answers. But rumination, that's the technical term for overthinking, it just keeps you stuck, going around and around in circles. It doesn't solve anything. It actually just makes the negative feelings stronger. For a lot of us, this whole pattern started as a way to stay safe. Maybe you grew up in a place where you always had to be on guard, where you had to read the room to know what was coming next. So your brain learned this mantra: think ahead, stay alert, be prepared. And you know what? That skill worked. It was an amazing survival tool that kept you safe from real or perceived threats. The only problem is that now that powerful tool is just always on. It's using the same high alert system for a weird email from your boss as it once did for actual danger. Now, we're going to get to the real heart of this because it uncovers something really surprising and honestly beautiful. Overthinking is almost always just misdirected care. So, has anyone ever told you to just stop thinking so much? It's like the number one piece of advice people give, and it is the single most useless thing you can say. Why does it backfire every single time? Well, it has to do with this thing called ironic process theory. There was this famous experiment where people were told, whatever you do, do not think about a white bear. And of course, what happened? They couldn't think about anything else. The very act of trying to push a thought away makes it stronger. And here's the big takeaway. The energy behind all that thinking, it isn't just random noise. Think about it. You overthink the things that matter deeply to you. Your relationships, big decisions, how you affect other people. Your anxiety isn't meaningless at all. It's a powerful sign of how much you care. It's just been aimed in a direction that gets you stuck. So what are we supposed to do with all this? Well, the path forward isn't about trying to achieve some perfectly silent Zen-like mind. It's about finding a new, much more compassionate goal.
Let's just be really clear about this. Trying to force your mind to go silent is a battle you will lose every single time. It's totally unrealistic. The real achievable goal isn't silence, it's awareness. It's about learning to notice your thoughts without getting totally swept away by them. So here's a simple way you can start. First, just get good at noticing when you're spiraling. Then, instead of fighting it, get curious. Ask the thought, hey, what are you trying to protect me from right now? That simple question changes everything. And finally, ask the most important question of all. Is that threat actually real today? So often, you'll find it's just an old, outdated program running in the background. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. What if this mental habit, this thing you've maybe always seen as a weakness or a flaw, what if it isn't a flaw at all? What if it's actually your own built-in compass, constantly pointing you toward the people, the values, and the future that you care about the most?